Oh boy, advanced format. How I hate it. And all that hatred and anger has been channeled into this ultimate retro instrument of chaos and destruction. This is my dream come true. And what you're all about to witness it with me. Yes, this is of course a pot of greed that I got from Etsy.
Yep.
It's
And it's first edition.
Yeah, it's the first one they made. From the first one that the seller made. And this pot of greed is... I love this thing so much. It looks great. But that's not all we're here for. It's what's inside the pot.
It's the 2 cards that you get to draw.
Well, there's several cards inside this pot. And, so like I said, this is going to be Florentine Yu-Gi-Oh! Here. And like I said, this is my dream come true. Not just the pot of greed, but what's inside it.
Oh boy, what do we have here?
If it'll open up. It has magnets around the edges. Yep. Just comes open and shut like that.
Yep. Yep.
And it's one inside the pot of greed that matters. It holds dice, it holds cards, it holds a deck.
Alright.
And this deck is what
we're all about here?
What we're all about here. So I'm just going to set this guy over here. And here we go. This is like I said, this is my dream come true. This is the most expensive deck I own.
The most expensive?
Possibly the most...
Possibly.
Well, anyway, it's the most expensive not TCG legal deck I own.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, because, I mean, Valkyries have triple Lightning Storm, triple Extravagance. That might be a stretch.
Yeah.
That might be a stretch, it might not. I haven't crunched the numbers yet.
Alright, but what makes you say this here?
This is 2004 Chaos.
This looks familiar.
Yes, but this is my personal deck of it.
Go on.
I finally completed it the way I wanted to complete it. First edition, original print, every card.
Every single card, first edition.
And we're going to go through it.
Oh, baby.
So the Chaos format of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's considered one of the most powerful formats in all of history of the game. It can be fun, it sometimes can't be. It depends on who you're playing with and what. Just how the cards... There's always that luck factor.
Yeah.
But the Chaos format was April 2004 ban list, and it was actually this format that caused Konami to start actually banning cards. Because when this deck was around, there were no banned cards. It was only limited and semi-limited cards. It wasn't until the ban list of early 2005, which actually became Goat Control format, that they started actually banning cards like Emperor Dragon and Yatagarasu and all that stuff. But I always go back to Chaos. It's because that's the name of the game.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to go into the deck profile now, and you're going to see everything in here is first edition original set.
In all its beauty.
It's taken me a while.
In all its majesty.
Yep, and some of these cards are very expensive. And I finally got it all put together for you, so we're going to check it out.
Yeah.
Emperor Dragon. The cards you need to do your Yata lock. Emperor Dragon, Yatagarasu, and either Sangan or Witch of the Black Forest.
Nice.
So how this works, Emperor Dragon was just insane on its own, but combined with these 2 cards, you could create the Yata lock if you didn't draw Yatagarasu. So, for the record, how the Yata lock works is you have either Sangan or Witch on the field, or you bring it back with Monster Reborn. Make sure you have not normal summon that turn. Special Emperor from your hand, pay 1,000, nuke absolutely everyone. You use Witch or Sangan to search Yatagarasu, use normal summon Yata, and poke. Yata has an effect where if it does battle damage to your opponent, they can't draw for their next turn. So you can see where I'm going with this. Yeah. You just poke them into submission and they can't do anything. There is one way to get out of the Yata lock, and it depends on what you have and what they have. We'll go into that later. But usually it was game over at that point.
Yeah.
So these are your Yada lock pieces right here. Also, you could use like Monster Reborn and stuff. So as you can imagine, it's like I said, it's the most powerful format in the first most powerful Tier 0 format in the game's history.
Beautiful.
I'm playing a very streamlined version with some of my personal preferences. Trying to keep it as close as possible. Trying to keep it as historically accurate as possible. There's one card in here I play specifically for fun because it's one of my favorite effects ever made. We'll get to that when we get to that.
Okay.
But yeah, this is pretty streamlined. We'll get into other card choices that you can play later, but that's our Yada Lock pieces. And if you didn't Yada Lock or just burn with Emperor, you had a lot of beatdown options. You also had Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning. When Invasion of Chaos dropped, these two cards were immediately put to 1 because of all the havoc they were wreaking in the OCG. So they were immediately put to 1 in the TCG each.
Oh boy.
When Invasion of Chaos dropped. So BLS, they both have the same summoning condition. Remove a light and a dark from your graveyard.
Yep.
This was the beginning of special summonings not being so special.
Yep.
And, like I said, Blackluster Soldier was great removal by banishing a monster once per turn instead of attacking. Or if he killed a monster by battle, he could attack once more. So, like I said, great beatdown option.
Yep.
Now, in this Chaos format, almost every monster you play is a light and a dark. The only ones you don't play that are light and dark are just because they have very powerful effects that help you accelerate your plays anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But for our darks, we have Breaker the Magical Warrior.
Yep.
Breaker is a good beatdown option. Sometimes you would make his counter. You wouldn't break right away. You would use his counter. 1900 attacks, pretty big back then.
Oh, yeah.
Run over something, then use the counter to break.
Yeah.
Because either way, they have to spend a Mirror Force if they want to keep their monster.
Yeah.
Or a ring, or whatever.
Yeah.
If they want to get their back row or lose their monster, or whatever.
All right.
There's still a resource. There's still some plays that carry over from Goat. Well, that carry into Goat. Like, obviously, you don't want Delinquent if you know they have Serpent, or wait till they lose the Serpent to Delinquent, things like that.
Right.
It's not as skill-based as Goat. It's pretty sacky, but it's just, I find it more fun just because the game can be taken from you in an instant.
Oh, yeah.
And, so yeah, we got the one breaker. Our other dark is Magical Scientist.
Ooh, okay.
So Magical Scientist does is you pay 1,000, it's not once per turn.
Okay.
To summon any level 6 or lower fusion monster. The only catch is they can't attack directly.
Okay.
It's not once per turn, so you can keep paying. Summoning fusion monsters.
Right. And I assume we'll go into that later?
We'll go into the fusion monsters right now.
Okay.
Your best targets were Thousand Eyes Restrict. You just suck up a monster and die at the end of the turn. They go back to the fusion deck at the end of the turn.
Okay.
So you had your Thousand Eyes Restrict.
What
Your
else?
other best targets were Dark Bolter to negate spells, and also I believe he destroys negate the effects of any effect monsters he kills in battle, which is good for like your Cyber Jars, your Man-Eater Bugs, your any flip monsters, or anything that would act. It's good for killing things like Shining Angel and Mystic Tomato too.
Ooh,
I
nice.
think. Ryu Senshi, because of his, he can negate because of Ryu Senshi. He's like Dark Bolter for traps.
Yeah.
Negate a trap by paying 1,000. Negate a spell by paying 1,000. It is mandatory though, so if you activate it while this is on the field, you have to pay to negate your own stuff. You just gotta be careful.
Right.
Ryu Senshi, he pays 1,000 to negate a trap, and he also negates any spell that targets him.
Okay.
Or actually, back in the day, they were not called spell cards. Every card in this deck you'll see is every spell card you would see in this deck is actually a magic card.
Right.
And
As it was said in the old days.
And I don't mean Magic the Gathering. Stupid wizards. Your last target is Fiend Skull Dragon. Negates any so Fiend Skull Dragon negates any traps that target him.
Yeah.
And he also negates all flip monsters effects.
Ooh, nice.
So these were the guys you go for. There is one more that I want to mention that you can summon with this, but you don't want to use it.
Right.
Reaper on the Nightmare. Reaper of the Nightmare might seem good to someone with this card at first. Reaper of the Nightmare has to attack directly to do its discard from hand effect. Scientist specifically says the monsters can attack, but not directly.
Right.
So even if you summon Reaper of the Nightmare, you can't attack with it.
Right.
So these are your best targets for Magical Scientist, hands down.
Yeah.
So that's all our fusion cards and Magical Scientist.
Yep.
Sorry, there's just a lot to go through with this deck, despite it being as old as it is.
It's a treasure, is what it is.
It is definitely a treasure.
Yeah.
My personal tech, my favorite card ever, my favorite effect card ever made,
Yeah.
Cyberjar.
Oh, yeah.
Flip, blow up all monsters. It's a good field reset and hand refresh if you're in the... It makes the best of a bad situation.
Oh, yeah.
The only reason some people might not like this is because it also gives your opponent cards.
Yeah.
And field presence. But you're usually using this as a field reset if you're already in a bad situation.
Yeah.
I just love this card so much.
It's a jar, man.
It's one of the best jars.
Oh, yeah.
And it's banned for a reason now. But
Oh, yeah.
It's a Cyberjar. I just can't get over how cool this card is. I love its effect.
Oh, yeah. Alright.
But yeah, it's basically you flip it, destroy all monsters, and then both players reveal top 5 cards of their decks. Add any monsters... No. Summon any level 4 or lower monsters and either face-up attack or face-down defense. Add the rest of the cards to the hand for both players. It's great. Next up, I think most people played one inside the other. That's personally what I would do.
Yeah.
But Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer, this was your counter to Chaos.
Yeah.
And like a lot of Chaos builds, they played a lot of the same cards. Kaiku was either played as a 1 or 2 of. Some people played one-sided the other. But Kaiku was great because while this was on the field, your opponent couldn't use envoys.
Right.
And anytime he would swing and do damage, he banishes 2 monsters from your opponent's grave.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
So the one Kaiku.
Alright. What else we got?
Our lights.
Our
2
lights.
Magician of Faith. You run the most busted Magic card lineup in the history of the game.
No question.
Yeah, so being able to flip with Magician of Faith, get a spell back, and it's also a light. It's fantastic.
Such as
Yeah. Alright, so 2 Faith. 3 DD Warrior Lady. This was your best monster form of removal.
Oh yeah.
It's a light, so Chaos Fodder.
Yep.
If it doesn't banish itself with its effect.
Oh yeah.
You could run this into a BLS just to get it off the field. Or like some people were playing Jinzo or Air Knight or Demok.
Oh yeah.
It's just a great way to get rid of those monsters if you didn't have a Dark Hole or a Raigeki handy.
Right.
It also, if you knew they were like setting their Serpent to like stall play, or a Shining Angel or a Tomato or something, you could ram this into that monster and banish it and they don't get their effects. And that Serpent's gone forever, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So 3 Warrior Lady. I also personally like to play 1 Shining Angel to get my DD Warrior Ladies out to the field that more quickly.
Which is always nice.
Yep. So Shining Angel, if it's killed by battle, special summon a light monster, 1500 attack or less from deck in attack mode.
Right.
So DD Warrior Lady, obviously.
Nice. Any other light monsters?
Nope, that's all the lights.
Okay.
Now, for your non-light and dark monsters, other than Yada, because they're just so good,
Obvious reasons?
Serpent and Tribe. These cards are bread and butter.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I can see it already.
Tribe is another good monster removal card. And Serpent, there's so
It's
many
just
ways.
amazing discard fodder.
Yeah. This is all before any erratas. So we're playing these... So when we play this format, we're playing cards as they were written, not as they are written now.
Yeah, old school rules here.
Yep, so Serpent, you don't have to have another Serpent in the grave to banish. You can use it every turn. It just comes right back to your hand during your standby phase.
Yep.
Let's see. Also, another thing I want to mention is that Emperor Dragon, obviously, also does not have its errata. Neither do Witch and Sangan, which labels the lock in the first place.
Yep.
And Our last monster of the deck is
Fiber Jar.
Fiber Jar. It's in here for the same reason as Cyber Jar.
Because it's such a good flip monster?
It's a good flip monster. It resets the game state to a degree. And it just, it gets you out of bad situations.
Oh, yeah. Hey, let's just play Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, again. And that's the last monster of the deck. Alright, now for the most broken spell lineup you're ever going to see in this game.
Okay.
And probably,
and we don't say that too lightly here.
And probably will never see again.
Yeah.
Monster Destruction. First Ed LOB Raigeki.
Raigeki, yep.
Darkhold. Obvious
choices.
Remember, every busted spell in here, you played everything. You played...
Oh yeah, you played it all.
The best generic cards.
Oh yeah.
Believe it or not, this is at 3 and this is at 1. Nobody plays them because mass destruction is not as good as it used to be. It's amazing how far this game has gone.
Oh yeah.
The big bucks of the deck right here.
Okay.
Along with Emperor being a first ed IOC.
Okay.
First ed LOB.
First edition Monster Reborn.
Oh. Best generic revival. As well as Premature Burial. Yep. Best generic revival. Remember, I said this is my dream come true. I've always wanted to make this deck first edition, original set, everything. Man. The only exceptions to the first edition rule are Sinister Serpent, as well as another card you'll see. This is the original printing, but these came in a video game, so these are not first edition. They are promos.
Okay.
But this is the first time they would have came out in the video game set.
Right. All right. Continuing on.
Monster Stealing. We have Change of Heart.
Change of Heart.
And we have Snatch Steal.
Snatch Steal.
Change of Heart. You're probably wondering why I'm not using the First Ed Metal Raiders. Because First Ed Starter Deck Yugi came first.
Right.
Change of Heart was actually a reprint in Metal Raiders as an ultra rare.
Interesting.
Yep. So you would get this card guaranteed at a Starter Deck Yugi, actually. And then
Snatch Steal?
Snatch Steal is amazing. They're both amazing, and they're both banned for very good reasons.
Oh yeah.
There's just unlike cards that let you take control of monsters these days, there's just no restriction on what you can do with them.
The possibilities are endless.
Yeah, you can just steal something, attack for game.
Yeah.
If you're running D-Mock or Jinzo or Air Knight, you tribute it off.
Yeah.
And then you got a big monster. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. What else we got?
So, most broken. Now we have the Unholy Trinity.
The Unholy Trinity. Oh, no.
Delinquent Duo. Forceful Sentry, and Confiscation. These 3 cards are for controlling your opponent's hand. Delinquent Duo you probably recognize from GOAT.
Yep.
Because it was legal back in GOAT format.
Yep.
This is one of the few cards that survived that ban list.
Oh, yeah.
So Delinquent Duo is pay 1,000 to randomly pluck... Well, you randomly pluck 1 card out of your opponent's hand to the grave, and then your opponent has to decide which one they discard next.
Oh, boy.
He ditches them 2 cards. Forceful Sentry, you get to look at your opponent's hand.
Shuffle one back
into the deck. So you usually pick something that you don't want in the graveyard or something you don't want to deal with. Confiscation is pay 1,000, look at your opponent's hand, and discard 1 card. So these 2, while they only discard 1, reveal your opponent's entire hand and set them back.
Yep.
And information is always useful.
Oh, absolutely.
And then Delinquent Duo is just busted on its own, even though you don't get to look.
Yeah.
It's just so good still.
Right. Anything else?
Oh, we still got half a deck to go. Well, like a third of...
more or less.
Third of the deck, more or less.
Alright. What else we got?
I don't know what it does, but it must be good if it was legal in this deck. Now we're on to the Holy Trinity. Pot of Greed, just...
The Holy Trinity now, okay.
Pot of Greed, Graceful Charity, and Mirage of Nightmare. People recognize these as the best draw cards in the game. People don't know much about Mirage of Nightmare mostly because it wasn't legal in GOAT, and it hasn't been legal since.
Yeah.
And
for good reason.
And for good reason. Pot of Greed, it's obvious. Graceful Charity. These were great top deck cards to get out of a bad situation.
Oh, yeah.
Or just bury your opponent in card advantage.
Absolutely. Especially in a deck like this where discarding can just go a long way.
Yeah, especially discarding your lights and darks and sinister.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Mirage of Nightmare, not a lot of people know how this works. So I'll
Yeah,
explain
Mirage
it.
of Nightmare is interesting.
Yes, so it's a continuous spell. When you activate it, initially, it does nothing.
Right?
During your opponent's standby phase, if you have less than 4 cards in your hand, you draw so you have 4 in hand.
Okay.
That's during your opponent's standby.
But on your standby phase...
When your standby phase rolls back around, you have to randomly discard cards from your hand until up to the number you drew with the first effect. That is, if it's still on the field by your next standby phase.
Yeah.
So what you do is you also play 3 Mystical Space Typhoons to ensure that you destroy this card during your draw phase before your next standby phase rolls around. So you activate you can activate this, set your hand, draw 4 cards. One of your set cards is MST.
Yeah.
You activate it, pop this before your next standby phase rolls around.
You've got a
You
full
get
hand.
you get a huge plus.
Oh, yeah.
It's insane. Also, I love the look of these first ed MRL
Oh, yeah.
Mystical Spaces.
Oh, man, that's beautiful.
Yes, and this whole deck is beautiful, honestly.
It really is, man.
There's no card in this deck I don't like. Feather Duster.
Feather
for
Duster.
Now we go into our back row removal, continuing also with MST.
Yep.
You play Feather Duster and Heavy Storm.
Yep.
Feather Duster is the other card I mentioned. The video game promo came out before the tournament pack one did, so I'm playing the video game one.
Right.
It's not first edition, but it is original set that it came out in. It's just
Yeah.
a promo, like Sinister Serpent.
Okay.
Both just wipe the field of back row clean.
Yeah.
This one destroys both sides. Really doesn't matter because you're just
Yeah.
going to use it when you have nothing.
Yeah.
And this one is just nuke your
Okay.
opponent's side.
Yeah. Heavy Storm, if you're not going to use anything unless you're a Crowler or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last spell. The most broken spell ever made.
Okay.
Painful choice.
Painful.
Yep. So this is pick any 5 card. When you activate this, you get to pick any 5 cards out of your deck.
Your opponent picks one.
Your opponent picks one of them.
Yep.
You reveal them.
Yeah, of course.
Your opponent picks one of them. The one they pick gets added to your hand. The rest get dumped to the graveyard. It is literally an upstart plus 4 Foolish Burials.
Yep.
Out of anything you want.
Oh, yeah.
This card is insane. Could you imagine this legal today? Zombies and Light Sworns and just, well, basically everything.
Yeah.
It would just be insane. It'd be more insane if than Pot of Greed being at 1.
Yeah.
Just like this is the I win button
Yeah.
like
really
if this was legal even at 1 in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, you drew this, it'd just be an I win button.
Yeah.
Like no joke.
Yeah.
But that is the last spell in our deck.
Right. Now for the traps.
The Traps. More Revival with Call of the Hunted.
Right. Which is always nice.
Yep. You only really play 4 traps in most Chaos builds.
Yeah.
Some builds, like Torrential Tribute,
Yeah.
I personally don't care for it because priority was a thing.
Yeah.
What priority essentially meant is like if I summon Chaos Emperor Dragon I can declare priority to use its effect at the start of any chain link.
Ah, okay.
So what that means is I summon Emperor Dragon before my opponent activates like a summon trap, like Torrential. You can you have to do this. You have to do this before they do anything. Though.
Okay.
So you have to summon this, and you say, "I retain priority to activate the effect."
Okay.
That way, you pay your 1,000. Then your opponent activates Torrential Tribute.
So eventually, they just played the card for nothing.
So even though it'll destroy Torrential will destroy all monsters on field, like normal, Emperor's effect will still resolve.
Yeah.
And kill the hand and everything.
Yep.
Priority's pretty busted.
Yeah.
That's why we don't have it anymore.
But anyways, the other traps?
The other traps. And even though you run so many spells, Imperial Order is still insane.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because your opponent has to deal with it.
Yep.
This is before the errata. You can shut it off whenever you want.
Yeah.
Your opponent doesn't have that luxury.
Yeah. Your opponent cannot.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, Imperial Order before the errata is just negate all spells whenever you feel like it.
Oh yeah.
Because you could choose to not... Because this one you could choose to not pay and destroy itself whenever you wanted.
Alright.
Last 2 cards of the deck.
Cards.
Mirror Force.
Mirror Force.
First Dead MRD. This one's a pretty penny.
Get a look at that.
Just this card was always the reason you have trust issues, and yeah, it stops your opponent from it punishes your opponent brutally for overextending in this format.
Oh yeah,
because they can always just run into a Mirror Force.
Yeah.
It's a battle trap. It's kind of slow, especially with so much back row hate. But the effect was so powerful back then. It really, it was still good.
All right, and the final trap card.
If all else fails, why not tie the game?
Yeah.
Ring of Destruction.
Yeah.
Because this is before errata, of course.
Naturally.
You could tie games with it. You could go for lethal with it. You could activate it during either player's turn to blow up your own monster.
Yeah.
Just, it's amazing. Like,
it's beautiful.
There had to be something done with it.
Oh, yeah.
There had to be something done with a lot of these cards in order to get them unbanned.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, I think if we're going through this long-winded deck profile, there are other few card choices that you can run instead of what I have. This just happens to be the build I'm comfortable with and I really like. There are a bunch of different tech light and dark monsters like Spirit Reaper,
Reflect Bounder,
Donzalug, White Magical Hat, Mass Sorcerer. So even though this was really like a tier 0 format, there were still a lot of personal tweaks to your deck going around.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Chaos was just the dominant deck, but there were a lot of personal tweaks to each deck. Some didn't even play Change of Heart if they played no tribute monsters. I personally like Change of Heart because you can just steal something and then kill your opponent with it. But yeah, you could run tribute monsters like Air Knight, Jinzo, and Demok. I don't like running the tribute monsters. I feel like the deck is good enough on its own with just its envoys.
Oh yeah.
But that's just my personal preference.
Yep.
Like I said, if you want to build this deck and revisit it, and revisit this format, I've got you you have a powerful list that you can just... You do you.
Yeah.
And obviously you don't have to go original set first at everything. This deck's actually really cheap if you do just commons and whatever.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
This deck's actually really cheap. Some things that are a little hard to get... Feather Duster. And,
of course.
Well, no, BPO1 Battle Pack Feather Dusters, I think, are only like $10.
Oh, okay.
But
there are some tough ones to come by, like the Delinquent Duo.
Duo is hard to come by sometimes. Regeki's not too bad, because it just got released in the Megaton.
Yeah, that's true.
A pre-errata Sinister is kind of hard to get.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said...
Yeah.
Yato's a common in a reprint pack. BLS has been reprinted hundreds of times. Emperor just got a reprint and a Shonen Jump. Plus, there's cheaper versions of this. You don't have, like I said, you don't have to build the deck as I have it first at original set. This is just, I really had to show this off. It's amazing.
It is majestic, is what it is.
So we've got our Chaos Boys here, and and that's just Chaos is a wonderful thing.
Oh yeah, it really is. Chaos is a wonderful thing.
That's all I gotta think.
And greed is good.
Greed is good. Yes. Very much so. So this has been Florentine Yu-Gi-Oh! With my favorite format, my favorite deck. Thanks for watching this long as heck, winded deck profile of just my favorite format. I hope you find this video informative. I hope it encourages you to play Chaos as well.
Oh yeah.
And just like I said, thanks for watching. This wouldn't be a channel without you guys. And see you all next time. Good night.
See you all later.